Hello there, my name is Megan. Thank you for joining in tonight. We will do an at home yoga restorative practice. To set up, you will need hopefully two small blankets. I'm going to use towels tonight and at least one pillow. You might want more for comfort. You also want a nice, clear, cozy spot where you can stretch out and get comfortable. So gather all your supplies and then find yourself in a shape that feels comfortable. Take a minute laying down or sitting tall. And just let yourself sink in. Letting yourself come to stillness as you prepare, softening in for our first check-in of the evening, our first posture. Notice how it feels to be still. Notice the sounds you can hear in the room around you. Starting to tune into your senses, maybe letting the eyes close, or at least letting your focus soften. Let your jaw soften. As your focus turns inwards, notice the temperature of the room on your skin. Notice where your skin is covered by clothes, their weight. Maybe you can feel the texture of the fabric. And then start to scan up from toes to the top of the head, the shape that you're in. Noticing where you might meet the floor or props. See if you can soften those edges. Each exhale, sinking into whatever shape you find yourself in. Just letting the breath roll through the body without effort. As you stay in this shape, breathing, notice the speed of your thoughts, where your mind might be drawn. Know that you can come back to these thoughts later. They'll still be here for you. It's okay to take an hour to yourself. You can always focus back on the breath as an anchor, as a way to stay present. Let's start to breathe a little deeper. Noticing how the breath ripples through chest and belly as you inhale and exhale. Noticing the shape that you are taking, feeling your edges. Maybe starting to bring in a little movement Maybe leaning your head side to side, whether you're sitting or laying down. Maybe wiggling your fingers or toes. And slowly we'll start to move into our first posture of the evening. We will take our entire stack of supports and props, bringing them towards the bottom of our mat, scooching your hips close, backs of the legs coming onto your support, gently leaning down onto the floor, taking a moment to tuck your shoulders underneath you. You can lay with palms up towards the ceiling. This helps to keep the chest open. For some, it might be more comfortable if you have rounded shoulders at 90 degrees. Some people even like up head. Now, if any of those options feel too open through the chest, you can also bring the hands to belly. So find the arm position that feels best. Make sure those props are tucked up as high as you can under the knees so that your legs don't have to do any work. And then letting your arms come to a comfortable angle, letting the chest open, letting the head be supported. If you have glasses, you want to take them off just to remove any pressure through the face. You can cover the face with an eye pillow or a face cloth to help block out light if you find yourself sensitive to that in the practice. So coming down, settling in. Notice any little adjustments you need to make for comfort. Giving yourself the option to modify at any time as we move through our practice. And then just come to observe that natural rhythm of your own breath. Inhale to expand. Exhale to soften, letting yourself get heavier. Noticing where your feet contact the floor. And just let them melt. Letting the backs of the calves soften. Releasing tension through the back of the leg. Feeling the spaces around the knees get lighter. Let the backs of the thighs lean into the props beneath it. Feel the muscles of your hips soften out. Letting the back of your pelvis sink into the mat. Let the belly expand. As you inhale, feeling the belly rise. Exhale to letting the belly soften, feeling the low back melt into the mat beneath you. And then, like you're taking a slow escalator, noticing how it feels first through the low back, coming up to the very bottom of the back body where it meets the rib cage, and the mid back. Noticing how much of the shoulders touches the mat beneath you. Feeling your upper back sink into the mat, into the floor. And come back to notice how much your ribs can expand on an inhale. Exhaling to feel the whole back body soften down. Just letting the breath move through the ribs nice and easy. See if you could swallow once or twice. Letting any tension from the jaw go. Bringing a little space in through the back teeth. Let the whole back of the head soften. For the last few minutes in this shape, see what you notice. And if the mind gets busy, you can always come back to observing the breath. Inhaling to expand. Exhaling to soften. Noticing your breath like an anchor. Inhale fully and exhale fully. In this moment, just you and your breath. Letting go of any tension that doesn't serve you. Each breath, noticing how it ripples through the body. From this shape here on your back, start to connect back into the breath. As you breathe, just becoming aware of your edges, where you end, where that mat beneath you begins. Maybe starting to bring in a little movement. Maybe wiggling fingers, toes, turning head side to side. Maybe it feels good for a stretch long or a hug in. Whatever might feel good, you can do it now. Eventually, we'll come back up to a comfortable seat, setting up for our next posture. Take your time coming up nice and slow. Once you come up, change your props around a little, keeping your 2 blankets or towels folded up so that you have a little stack. And for now, your pillow can come off to the side. If it's fairly flat, you may want to keep it for some neck support. And for our next posture, coming down onto our back once again, tucking the shoulder blades underneath us as we come down. And keep a bend in the knee to start. Pushing into your feet, hips lift nice and high, sliding your towel blocks up right underneath the pelvis and a little bit of the low back. Now, if you have low back discomfort, walk your feet a little bit wider and just let the knees fall together. So it should be no effort through the knees to hold yourself up. Or if you really like back bends, they're comfortable to you, you can stretch your feet nice and long. This will intensify the opening through the lower back. Sometimes the chin can feel a little compressed here. It can be nice to tuck something up underneath the neck. We don't want to use a pillow because we will crunch through the neck, which we want to avoid. Sometimes it can feel nice if you have a very flat pillow. If you wish to use an eye pillow or a face cloth to cover the eyes, you can do that. Hands, once again, if it feels too open through the chest, palms down, they can come to belly. Or palms open by the side, or 90 degrees. Cactus. Or you can even reach up. Whatever feels easiest for your shoulders. And then as you let yourself sink into this new shape, taking every opportunity to get settled in, see if you can start to breathe your weight into this shape. Each exhale, just feeling yourself melt in to the floor, to the props, to the shape. Letting yourself slowly ease into this new posture. Noticing that space between the crown of the head and your forehead. Imagine that your scalp could soften. Any tension through the forehead flushes away. Coming to notice the space between your left and right nostril. You might even notice that the nostril itself echoes that expand and contract rhythm that the rib cage does. Inhaling to open, exhaling to soften. Notice the space between the top and bottom jaw. Each exhale, letting excess tension melt back down towards the floor. Gently blowing it away on the breath. Notice the space between your earlobes and the top of your shoulders. Feeling all the parts of your upper back supported by the floor, by the mat. Can you sink into that contact? You lean into that support. Letting the breath ripple through the body. Inhaling to rise and fill. Exhaling to soften down and let go. Coming into our last few minutes in this shape. Just observe the rhythm of your own breath. Inhale and exhale. Each exhale, letting more tension dissolve from the body. Each inhale, bringing restorative breath, filling the body, the torso, heart space with lightness. As I take my next few breaths here, just noticing the shape I find myself in. If I have my legs straight or open in butterfly, coming back to bringing my feet flat on the floor, knees pulled up towards the ceiling. As you're ready to inhale, take both arms, reach all the way along overhead if you have the chance, stretching out long through the side body, through the rib cage. Maybe wiggling a little from one side to the next. And then when you're ready, hands coming back down to either side of your hips. Push your feet into the floor, squeeze through the back body. You lift up the hips, reaching underneath you to pull out your pile of pillows or blankets. And slowly lowering your lower back down to the mat. Curl both knees in towards your chest. Take a nice big hug. You might stay still. You might roll gently side to side. See what feels best. Noticing how it feels through the back body. And when you're ready, letting both knees roll over to a side. And nice and slowly coming back up to a comfortable seat. While we get ready to make our next prop, we'll take our blankets or towels, whatever you might have, and fold them into a little noodle shape, like a bolster. And we'll do that with both of our blankets. So take a minute, getting your props ready. Rolling up your blankets. It doesn't have to be an exact science, but it is good if you have something roughly the same size. Nervous system tends to notice small difference. We will take our pillow as well, placing that up near the top of the mat, letting ourselves have that little extra support. once your props are ready, once again coming down onto our mat, lowering yourself down however feels best. And you can take your towel rolls on either side of your hips, leaning down towards your knees. Head supported by your pillow. Shoulders rolled under to let the chest space open. Feet flat on the floor. Let the knees open. And adjust your little towel rolls under your thighs and maybe lower legs to support so there's no pulling through the top and the front of the pelvis. Arms can come nice and wide. You can come into cactus. If the chest still doesn't feel comfortable with this level of opening, you can come to close. Hands down on belly. It's a little less opening through the heart space. Another work I've been doing through some meditation is taking my hands and resting them on the heart space. Just clasping one hand over the other, letting myself soften. This only works if it doesn't feel like you're holding your arms up. So you could tuck something under this arm, or you might save it for a different practice. As your body shifts into butterfly, if you feel any pull happening through the front of the pelvis, you can adjust your props to pull them closer to the body, or knees coming up towards the ceiling, feet walking a little wider to support the low back and the hips. As you let yourself sink into butterfly, notice where your feet touch. Notice all points of contact on your legs, to your pillows, or your props. Let your legs lean in. Feel the tension drip out of the pelvis and the muscles of the buttocks and the glutes to soften. Feel the low back slink into the mat, getting heavy. Back body nice and solid. As you lay here, pay attention to the spaces between your ribs. Notice how the space between each rib shifts as you breathe. How much does your breath expand on an inhale? And how much do the ribs contract, moving closer together On an exhale, inhale to rise. Exhale to soften and fall. Each breath, different movement. Put together like a wave. There's a momentum. If you find your mind begin to wander, coming back to notice your breath. Inhale to expand. Exhale to contract. Just notice the rhythm of your own breath. Paying attention to how it ripples through the body. Inhaling fully. Exhaling completely. Every breath, opportunity to be in this shape in this moment. Starting to breathe a little deeper. So inhale, really notice how the pressure changes for some of your point of contacts. As you exhale, just noticing which parts of your body lean and props support. Maybe wiggling fingers, maybe turning head side to side. You can do circles with the wrists. And when you're ready, lifting knees back towards the ceiling. Let's stretch long. And from here, rolling onto a side. Taking a moment, adjust onto your side. Careful to move any props out of the way. Nice and slowly as you're ready. And to push yourself back up to a comfortable seat. And from here, moving into our final posture for the evening, we'll move into our Shavasana. You may take any shape that feels good for your final posture. Or if you want a suggestion, we will do a supported heart opener. So taking a blanket or a towel and folding it into a nice skinny and long line. You may use a pillow to support under your head, or if you prefer more support under your knees, you might move the pillow down, making another long line with your other blanket or towel. And you can use this for a headrest instead. As you come down, the aim is for our first bolster to come underneath the back of our shoulder blades, the back of the heart space. And the second one can roll right up around the head, providing a little extra support. And for this one, arms will come to 90 degrees. You might have a pillow under your knees to let them soften. If this is not enough support for the low back, you can always take soles of the feet to the floor, knees falling together to lean on each other. So see what you need. Try to be careful not to pressure the chest to open too much. You really want to let the shoulders sink into the support of the bolster, just letting the rib cage sink back towards the floor. Set yourself an intention for the last few minutes of our practice this evening that you will let yourself get heavy. Like a little piece of butter melting into warm toast. For the last few moments of your practice, let the focus stay on you. You can always come back to observing that wave of the breath and how it ripples through the whole body. Each exhale, body sinking in. Letting the palms soften. Feeling the arms get heavy. The breath moving freely through the body. Feel that space across the open chest. Notice how it fills with air and lightness on an inhale. As you exhale, feeling yourself soften into support. Giving yourself the gift of comfort, feeling free to move and adjust at any time. You are exactly where you're supposed to be in this breath and in this moment. Taking the rest of our practice in silence. Stay focused on that wave through the body, that breath liveliness. Inhaling to rise, exhaling to soften. Inhale and exhale. Each breath being in the present moment. Inhaling and exhaling. Letting the body rise. As you exhale, noticing the shape you soften into. Just activating your breathing a little more. As you breathe, noticing subtle motion in the body. Noticing where parts of you start to touch your supports beneath you, your props. Coming back a little bit. Starting to notice your edges. Maybe starting to move a little if you're ready for movement. Maybe stretching long, hugging inwards. Just noticing how it feels as you very slowly move your limbs. Coming back a little from your space on the ground. You might hug in. You might be ready to roll to a side. And nice and slowly moving props out of the way. Come to join me in a comfortable seat. If you're moving, move slow. You may choose to keep the eyes soft. And coming into whatever seat feels comfortable. It might be cross-legged, it might be long-legged, it might be a kneel. And just taking a moment to tuck your chin all the way in, looking straight down towards the floor. Just take a few breaths, letting your shoulders drop. Roll your right ear over towards your left shoulder so your head tilts to the side. Taking a nice long stretch in through the other side of your neck. Lifting your chin up towards the ceiling. Feel that stretch roll to the front of the neck. And then tuck your chin all the way down like you're trying to smell your armpit or touch your nose to your armpit. Feeling that stretch. Pull up the back of the neck a little. Before letting nose fall back down towards the floor. And letting the left ear roll over towards the left shoulder or coming into your other side. Nice steady stretch up the center side of your neck. Lifting nose up towards ceiling, feeling our stretch coming through the front. And last but not least, tuck that nose all the way down as if you could tap it to your shoulder. We're coming up, doing a couple shoulder rolls. Eyes might stay soft or closed. Might roll your shoulders one at a time. We're rolling both shoulders back at the same time. And let's end together this week by moving with the breath. Make sure you can stretch your arms out wide. Nice big inhale, fill your lungs and reach tall. Looking up towards the sky as you exhale, palms come down through center. Your hands follow your thumbs. Inhale, reach tall, fill your lungs. Exhale, palms together, hands coming down through the center. One more, inhale, reach tall. Chin lifts, keep your eyes on your palms. Exhale, hands come down towards the center. And to let the thumbs soften on the breastbone, chin tucks in. Turn inwards one more time. Let the eyes soften. Let the focus come on you. Let the muscles of the face soften out one last time. Check in on your shoulders if they're as dropped as they can be. Is that belly moving with your breath? Subtle movement of the breath is always with you. I hope that you might be able to find a few moments of calm from our practice tonight. Know that they're always with you. Sometimes it just takes a few deep breaths. Thank you for joining me.